It's Leslie.
And Taryn.
You're gonna love the video you're about to see.
It's part of our simple success system, as easy as ABC 1, 2, 3.
So be ready to take some notes
Take action
and get results.
Hey, it's Taryn,
And Leslie.
and we are going to talk to you about taking and tracking your products, because we have noticed over the years, some people are like, I don't know if it's working, and simple conversations will reveal exactly why, and some of them are really simple actually. So what are the 3 key points you want to keep in mind when you're taking your products?
Sure. So here's the reality. I'm very common sense, let's think through this. The first thing you want to make sure you're doing is actually take them daily. That sounds so simple, but sometimes we get so busy. I will actually go through the day and be like, oh, I think I already took my products because I'm not really paying attention.
I looked at them.
Down. Yeah, I looked at them, so I took them. They do not work unless they enter your body, and you want to be super consistent on that. The other thing is take the recommended dose, take the recommended amount, right? So I actually, for me, I have little shot glasses, 1 ounce, 2 ounce shot glasses, and then I have the measuring cup. So I actually make sure I take those because they're therapeutic doses for a reason. Yep. So you want to do that. The other thing is I always suggest taking your products 1 hour apart from any medication that you're taking. That's just another key ingredient. So that's 1, 2, 3, the simple steps for me to make sure and make that a priority.
And we do have plans, so talk to your sponsor. You can reach out if you want to know exactly how you should take what you ordered. So we can customize those. And the nice thing is in that breakdown, you can actually see what the therapeutic amount is, what the regular, and then they have instructions. For example, how many ounces of water do you mix up a hydrate or an energy with? What are those recommendations? So all of those are actually in those plans. And you can also look at targeted needs. Mm-hmm. So if you look at the targeted needs on the website, they actually give how to take those products. So if you're ever like, okay, well, how would I take this? These are the places that you can kind of go and seek that out yourself. And with the medications, the biggest thing is medications are meant to get into your system in a specific time frame. These are just meant to go fast and be absorbed. And so we don't want to speed something up that wasn't meant to. So it's not that it's really going to hinder anything. What you're wanting to pay attention to is just keeping them apart so that they get to do what they're meant to do. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to your pharmacist, because they're the ones that actually look at the interactions of different things. And we suggest saying, hey, I'm getting ready to take this. Can you double check that there's nothing else I need to be aware of? If you ask for permission, medical people are not allowed to actually say yes because their licensing is not. So when you hear no, you think, oh, I can't do it. It's actually you're asking something that they don't have the ability to say yes or no. So they have to say no. So just a little tidbit there. The second thing that we notice is you've got to track your product or progress, because so many times people are like, I don't know if it's really working, but they're so unaware that they felt that they were going to be hyped up when they weren't. So the fact that they were more focused. One of my favorite stories of all time was there was a woman that her husband, she wanted him to try one of the products, the energy. And she came home and she was like, hey, what did you think about it? She was all excited. He goes, honey, I'm so sorry, but I just don't feel it. I don't think it works. So she was a little tiffed and she goes, well, what did you get done today? What did you do? So she was just changing the subject and trying to be nice. He lists off everything. She goes, you don't think it worked, because he had cleaned the garage. He had done all the projects. So this is not what most people think it's going to be. It's not that stimulant. It's not that high. It's not the crash. This is just going to make you more alert, more alive, more vibrant. So you actually have to pay attention because it's so subtle yet so foundational that you're going to feel better. So some of the things that we suggest tracking, and here's another thing, law of familiarity. I do not remember how bad I used to feel. I just don't.
Right.
I don't remember what it was like to carry around 54 extra pounds. I don't remember what it was like to snap at my family and just want to cry because I was being mean, but I couldn't stop the words from coming out of my mouth. I don't remember what it was like for my heart rate to be higher. I don't remember what it was like for my stress levels to be so high. I don't remember what it was like to be so anxious that I could just cry at the drop of nothing. Somebody spilled a drop of water and I would have cried. I don't remember that. And so the further away from it you get, because this is helping your body, you've got to start paying attention to what's changed. And you're going to be able to do that, number one, when you're like, whoa, that's different. Jot those down. I cannot tell you how important that is to jot those little nuggets down. And also when somebody else says, hey, I noticed this about you, jot those down.
Right.
Because that is a proof of what is changing. So we're going to go over some of the things. These are on that form, but I want you to kind of hear them. So when it comes to energy, what do you notice? with energy.
For me, it's a cool, calm energy. I noticed exactly the story you shared. I just looked up the very first day. That is something that you notice the minute you put these products in your body. So for me, I looked up the first day I took our products and I was like, I was more productive. I was not crashing. I was not exhausted. And I'm like, holy cow, I even cleaned out the hall closet that nobody touches. So that was the first thing. I think your energy level and productivity is literally the first thing that you notice.
Willpower to get things done.
Oh yeah.
Without like trying or striving. As far as snacking and hunger, one of the biggest things I noticed is I would go to the same restaurants out of habit, order the same thing, but I would go home with way more. Like somewhere that I was like, oh, I'm not going to have a box to go. And I was like, why am I taking home 75% of what I ordered?
Right.
And so different things like that, or that I would go through drive-through and I would take a couple bites and I was like, this tastes disgusting. Well, what happened was my pH was changing. So the acidic food was no longer tasting good, because when you're acidic, bad foods are going to taste good. When you balance your body chemistry and actually get it into a more balanced, higher pH, it's actually not going to taste good, which is so exciting because it makes it so much easier. You don't have to try and white knuckle so much when you're really getting into this lifestyle. People ask me a lot of times, they're like, hey, now that I'm doing this, do I have to like change what I'm eating? Do I have to do all these things? Do I have to work out and do this? And I go, honestly, please don't. Not intentionally. If you're like, you know what, I'd like to join a gym, or I'd like to work out a little bit more, or maybe I'm going to go for a walk, or you know what, for whatever reason, something green on the plate sounds good. Do that, but don't intentionally try to change too many things. Let the products change you and your habits. So don't be ridiculous. Don't be like, well, I'm going to see if it works. I'm going to eat 12 donuts and see if I still lose weight. Like, don't be stupid about it. I'm sorry if that's rude, but like, don't be stupid about it. But, you know, let it naturally change, because I can tell you right now, I never would have craved avocado toast with arugula and an egg.
Right.
And it was the best tasting thing in the entire world. So more bland foods will actually taste better. So things will change.
And I remember, like, just to add to that, my husband was strictly steak and potatoes prior to using the products. And now he's like, let's go have sushi, let's have fish. And he would actually prefer that. So some of his taste buds changed over time. And then with the snacking and the cravings, it's been a long time ago and you do forget, but a long time ago they said, picture your body like Swiss cheese. All the nutrients that your body is craving, like once you start really flooding the body with nutrients, picture it like you're filling in those holes and you're not craving all the junk. And I can say that definitely happened for me and my entire family, even my kids.
Well, and tracking. Okay, so this is what I would recommend tracking. You can't be crazy about it, and you know your personality. Like Leslie's so good about tracking her macros. Me, you're never going to get me to track a morsel. It's just not my personality. So know what works for you and know where you're going to go to a place that you shouldn't mentally.
And there's no right or wrong there.
Not at all. But I absolutely love what is called the Renpho scale, because it shows not just the weight, it shows your entire body composition, and it shows your body water levels and a lot of different things that are truly saying, is my body moving towards health? Because sometimes when you shift things, your weight may go up, but it might be muscle mass, or it might be your body going, whoa, I have toxins I want to get rid of. I'm not used to getting rid of them, so I'm going to put them somewhere else until I figure out what that rhythm is. And so if you're tracking things, we can help you better adjust. So we love the Renpho scale. It's like $14 to $18 on Amazon. So it's like next to nothing. The second thing, track your measurements, because a hip to waist ratio that is changing and getting, well, it'll be waist to hip. When that is smaller, whatever it is, your waist should be smaller than your hips is the point. Whatever that ratio is, when you're starting to see that you are slimming down in areas, especially visceral fat, that's the fat around your organs. It's a very unhealthy fat, but you need to track that and know where you started.
Right.
Pictures, I highly, highly recommend. Do forward, side, and then back.
The dreaded back. I would give anything if I had pictures from when I started. I've lost over 40 pounds and I've kept that off now for over 10 years, and you've lost over 50. I mean, it's crazy.
I have cleavage in the front and the back.
I just would avoid pictures back then, and so I would give anything to have those pictures now. So that's the best piece of advice I can give you. And I'm huge on measurements again, because we all know the difference. I mean, you can weigh 150 pounds and have a lot of muscle mass and you look completely different than someone else that weighs the exact same. So I'm huge. That Renpho scale, you introduced me to that fairly recently, you guys, and I love it because it's all about where are you trending. what are those numbers saying? I don't really care what it says my body fat percentage is right now today. I care whether that number, which direction is that moving?
Well, and like if you go on vacation and it trends up a little bit, don't panic. Then you know how to get back down and you know where you should be because you can return back to, where you were. And so not holding on so tightly. And as far as the pictures go, highly recommend going in as little of clothing as you want for your own sake. And then take it in maybe athletic wear that you're comfortable wearing so that if you ever wanted to share it, you could. And maybe a regular everyday outfit that is something that's very common that you wear, because it's really neat to start seeing the shifts and the differences. I have one that I used to actually have to wear Spanx to be able to button that now falls off of me. They were a pair of pants. So it's really neat to see the differences. But here's the biggest thing. If you really commit to this, you're not going to return to where you're starting. And that's the most beautiful thing because it's progress in a trajectory in the right way. And so I highly suggest taking your products, tracking them, and then making sure that you celebrate those. Because as you get healthier, you're going to have a new level and foundation of health, and you're going to start to forget what it felt like. And that's when people start to go lax because they forget. Because this changes your body very quickly. And you get a brand new foundation, but the little sneaky thing is you actually get more wiggle room to forget. You get more wiggle room to not behave, and it doesn't affect you in the same way. And so slowly you can get away from your progress. So it's one of those things that if somebody says, hey, I want to know what this is really doing for me, my suggestion is to stop cold turkey for 4 days, and then you can decide what they are or aren't doing for you. But you can't just slowly forget things and say, well, I don't think it was doing as much. Because I can tell you right now, our whole family uses this as a toolkit. We know what it's doing. We know how to utilize it. And it really does that for each and every person, but they have to be aware of what their body is actually doing. So,
and I think the longer you're on products, I can just say once I started, the biggest thing was I didn't know how bad I felt until I felt good.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Until you knew how good you could feel.
It's about to be amazing.
Awesome. Cheers.